I think a danger that they would have been in was continuing to be deceived by what is portrayed on the radio and through movies.
I mean, we're nobody's savior, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't come over there with the great American hope, the great hope from the West. They've got a lot of things over there that we need to learn over here.
A lot of times it's not about what we say or what we do, but sometimes it's just what we see. So for them to have an opportunity to see someone that looks like them, that comes from someplace else, and they see how they carry themselves and how much they care about each other, says a lot.
The build up to the trip, it was very, very exciting. It was kind of an expectation as far as what God was gonna do. I just didn't know how, and I didn't know when.
I really didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I knew we was gonna have a long flight. I knew that much.
I didn't really go with a whole bunch of expectation. Like, I guess nervous being away from my family for that long. That was a long trip for me. But leaving was fun because I was really excited about it. A lot of our family and friends showed up at the airport by surprise. There's a whole lot of hugs and pictures and all that stuff. It was a good departure, man, and just feeling fulfilled in what we were having the opportunity to go do. It was a privilege, man. Not everybody gets to do that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man, just got off the plane. So officially in Johannesburg, South Africa. First time being here. Excited. Not doing Facebook Live because Verizon would charge me my kids' school tuition for me to do this,
So we landed in Johannesburg, drove over to Pretoria, and then we got to go in Pretoria to the Soshanguve, which is one of the townships. From my understanding, one of the biggest townships in the world. I think it's like 4 million people in that township alone.
It was interesting because people, I mean, they had 4 or 5 people living in a 1-bedroom shack, like literally.
You would see them on the corners with paint rollers looking for jobs. Kind of put me in the mind of the early South.
They had so much joy, I didn't really understand how. I was actually kind of envious because I'm like, I think you've experienced God in a way that I haven't before. I struggle trusting Him and pursuing Him when I have a hard time paying a light bill. But this is your everyday life, and you're sitting here telling us how much God loves you and how He's gonna provide for you in spite of current circumstances.
We got to work with Kira's Global, Dr. Marsha and Dr. Jenny. They always told us about the work they're doing and who they're working with on the ground, very humbly so. They moved over there like 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, something like that. And then being able to plug into that work and serve alongside them for the betterment of the community they were in, just opened my eyes up in so many ways.
Kira's Global, amazing 2 ladies. They have set up an orphanage right there in the heart of Soshanguve, and they're taking care of probably over 100 kids every single day.
And we got to serve alongside them, see what they're doing. So every day these kids leave school, and about 140 some kids come over from there to the Orphan Care Center. They get food, they get help with their homework, they get loved on, they play games. We had massive like 4-square tournaments. I smashed a bunch of the kids over there. I didn't care, I won, I was enjoying it. And I got beat too, but whatever. And it was just really, really, really good time, man. And that environment was a safe place for a lot of these kids to go.
Here we are, watching the rare black and white mammals traveling through the South African jungle. Right now they're doing a mating ritual dance where one scares the other and the other pushes them and frightened it. The
scared American black male.
The black male is obviously not interested in the larger white male.
They're doing a mating ritual.
My experience at Pulamati Boho was great because in spite of the fact that they didn't know us, they had never met us before, they heard we were from America, and the one thing that they wanted above anything else was just a hug. That really, really messed me up because I'm like, what I am so used to, and I might take for granted sometimes, if I'm honest. That meant the world to them.
Like you're walking through in different classes and walking through the yard, and if the teacher allowed, like a lot of the kids just rushed up to give hugs, and we're just in there, we're just hugging and loving on them. I remember Nick specifically, man, had a group of, we call him Danger Nick. Nick's had this epic beard, and he had a group of kids that just jumped on top of him, started like grabbing his beard and hanging from his beard, and it was probably uncomfortable for him, but funny for us.
To have the opportunity to do what we do and see how the kids just reacted it was an amazing experience. Their English is not that good, but it got to the point to where every hook that was done, they knew it and they repeated it. The energy that they had, just the experience on a whole was something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Seven years ago, this place was empty. And because of HIV/AIDS epidemic that we've kind of forgotten about, it's filled up 7 years. This is only a portion of this land over here.
The graveyard impacted me to see how it grew from a couple of plots to almost 4 or 5 or 6 acres in less than, a couple of months' time.
That day was, if I remember correctly, it was a very, very emotional day for us. We saw how massive the gravesite was. And when we got to the back, we realized that they had taken the fence out of the back and they were extending the graveyard. One of the pastors that we had met over there was telling us that he had to stop doing funerals because he was doing it so often, he started to become numb. And so he had to kind of step away from it. And that kind of broke our hearts, man. I mean, looking at the tombstones, we were seeing kids who were born and died the same day.
We asked Pastor Tondo, is this because of AIDS? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, man, I don't hear much about that. And he was like, yeah, the world stopped caring. It doesn't mean it ever stopped. And I was like, wow.
Crikey, can you believe it? I'm standing on the top of Mount Montebuki. This has never been attempted before, but I'm gonna do a double summer barrel roll off to the edge. 1, 2, just like a hippopotamus. That's good stuff, mate.
So a lot of the pastors we got to work with and principals we got to work with, and then particularly the staff of the Orphan Care Center, one of the things that our church is big on is discipleship and pouring into people. So we had the privilege to take away about 20 plus leaders, maybe 30 or so, to this really nice retreat center that Curious had a relationship with, and just spend 4 days with them, talking through things and processing and hanging out and eating and pouring into them. And it was a really good time. A lot of tears, a lot of high fives, a lot of hugs, a lot of stuff we can take back as leaders to our communities, and it was really good.
The concert for the staff was fun. The owner of the resort that we were staying on, she came to us, and I think she was telling us that staff was getting ready to leave, and our pastor had already wanted us to kind of do something for the people that came for the discipleship conference. And so I don't know who it was, but we were like, hey, why don't you, before your staff leaves, why don't you bring them over with us? And Renaissance is gonna go up here and we're just gonna get nice and sweaty and turn up. I saw a side of my pastor that I don't think I've ever seen before. Saw some dance moves that I've never seen before, if that's what you want to call them.
Cape Town was amazing. We just talk about the views alone. We got a chance to drive up mountains, and we actually had to stop just to take pictures. And I don't even take selfies. But I had to do a selfie over in Cape Town.
And we got to see these school of dolphins, and like I think we're at the Horn of Africa or something like that. And we kept going around the corner and kept going around, driving around the other side of the mountain. Ended up at Mitchell's Plain, which is where we spent most of our time.
And once we got there and got to the city and learned more about Cape Town, it didn't change it anymore, but I think we fell even more in love with Cape Town. Cape Town, you have so many different hues of people, was really, really incredible.
We got connected with Sarah Prince, who brought us over to Cape Town. The way Legin tells it, unbeknownst to me and our manager JB, he had an agreement with her and said, when we come there, work us. We want to be tired getting on the plane. So we come to find out we had 8 schools to visit and 3 shows to do in 2.5 days. Thanks to Legin. So
we had an opportunity to partner with Hillsong and bring in the music that we do, and to see how it impacted these children's lives. To see these kids recite these hooks and recite these lyrics back and not necessarily know what it is that they're saying or how powerful it is, to the point that they're saying something almost prophetic, but really have no clue that they're saying something that's prophetic. We went into schools that were predominantly Muslim schools. Even we had the opportunity to go to a special needs school. And it just goes to say, between the name of Jesus and the power of music, you can almost conquer anything.
You know, a lot of the people in our communities, they were moved from their communities forcibly to live in nothing and squalor, and ignored and abandoned and neglected as a community systematically. Then what came out of that is so much brokenness, drug abuse, neglect, every kind of abuse, sexual, emotional, physical abuse. When you guys spoke last night, when you spoke from your hearts about your own stories, like, you touched a nerve. You related to them. You guys related to them, and you communicated words and feelings that they feel. You guys tapped into that last night with your music. Music is like the language here. It's the vibe. It's what you hear literally on the streets all the time.
Cheek thrills, but it's been some consequences. That's what we chase when we feel like we got to fit in. All it takes is one dark night to end it all. In that double life, I realized I never lived at all.
Using rap to spread the gospel, it really helped me because it's almost a different language. Music is transcendent. It transcends age, race, gender, nationality. It transcends all of that, and it can speak basically any language that it needs to deliver its message to the listeners.
Our hosts in Social Gube and our hosts in Cape Town were both telling us the same message, that it's really big that you're a young man. It's really big that you're a young black man. It's really big that you're a young black rapper as well. The people that they serve really look up to American pop culture, really look up to American rappers for guidance. I remember me when I was young, my dad wasn't in the picture, so what replaced his voice in my life was hip hop. So I know, like, when that voice you latch onto, so when they were saying they're latching on to the American hip hop voice, I was like, wow, that's kind of sad, because a lot of the stuff these dudes are talking about aren't helpful. Being able to really say, like, yo, look for the right things, you know what I'm saying? Have some filters on. Our filter is through the lens of the gospel, right? We look for something that's moral. Don't try to be like these guys lying to you in these videos. And if I can use some little small minor amount of influence for that good, then I'll do it. I'll do it again. I'll do it over and over and over again.
To see how rap music and hip hop there's no borders, there's no boundaries. To be able to take that form of music and go to a country where they speak so many different languages, but to see the impact that hip hop music has on these young people is mind blowing.
I'm saying bring it, say it. Ain't nothing I'm not having to worry because my past has been buried. Fire can't burn me, I'm flame retarded since he rebirthed.
So our single, Ain't Worried, it was played on a radio station over in Cape Town. And so before we had gone over there, I think our single had broke the top 20, and I believe it was like 14 or 15. As we're going through these different schools and we did the event at Hillsong and stuff, we were performing that song just about each place we went. DJ Easy calls us and like, hey, Listen to the radio. You won't regret it. Went on to the radio show, found out Ain't Worried became #1. A lot more requests came in for that record because of the places that we went over in South Africa. But what's crazy about that though is the radio DJ that was playing the song, he was a Muslim. And he was like, yo, this song needs to be on the charts. The message of the gospel is transcending even religious boundaries. They hear the strong message of Jesus in our music, but they still want to connect. I never expected our song to be #1, especially in another country. So that was just mind-blowing for us.
Never did I ever take a brother with me doing this and doing it, flowing it. I got let about it, ruin it, the truth, pursuing it, giving it, cheering the gospel. I don't want to sing up the deteriorating the foxes. I'm bringing it down, taking it down to the octave, and taking it round, bringing it back to the topic. So look at me now, you might sound cocky, but that ain't the problem. I slow it down, yeah. You wanna know why I look so cool?
We went to a school. They had almost every student crammed in a room with a wooden stage with maybe one exit. So for me, from the management standpoint, I was nervous the whole time. I don't know how we were gonna get out of there if we had to get out of there. Nigel and Jermaine on the stage, they wanted to jump up and down. I didn't know if the stage was gonna fall down or what. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And then we were even told, look, when you do what you're gonna do, try to keep it as cool as possible. Don't a whole lot of energy because we don't want to get the kids all excited.
And that was one of the schools that was it was almost like a health hazard for us to get too excited because they were pressed up against the stage in the front and they were pressed up against the wall in the back and then on the sides and they were standing on desks and stuff. So they kind of told us, hey, just take it easy. We're gonna have a good time. Take it easy.
That went out the window. Soon as they went up and the music came on, not only did all of the kids start jumping, Nigel and Jermaine started jumping. People from Hillsong were jumping.
We just had like 1,000 kids in that one room just jumping up and down, and it was amazing.
Right now we're at a special needs school. They expect about 200 kids. I didn't realize how impactful it was to be here, but they said that the kids were so excited because nobody comes out of their way to come see them, apparently. So that was really, really encouraging. I knew we was doing something cool, but it's just what we do. So I didn't know that this meant so much.
There was one school that was, a special school. All these little kids rush, come on stage and just start dancing, and we're just like, we don't care. So we was like, all right. And so we're having fun. A little girl comes up and she puts her hand up for the mic. So I put the mic to her mouth and she like snatches the mic away and I'm like, oh, all right. And she kind of like does like this and opens her mouth like she's singing, but nothing's coming out. And I was looking at her like, all right, y'all make some noise for us. So everybody started clapping and cheering, and then you got all these kids still dancing and all that. Found out afterwards, some of the teachers pulled us to the side and they said, we were back there with our jaw on the ground because this girl is severely autistic and she can't speak. And she's so embarrassed by that or just so whatever by that, she doesn't even participate in school. They said, so for us to see that, to see her come up to the front on her own and grab the mic and try to sing for her school. And we were in the back looking like something amazing's happening right here. And it was just amazing, you know what I mean? Whatever her voice is, I know God was pleased with it.
For them, it's not about like how good the music is or when the beat drops. It's about people, and so they just connected with you guys. They connected and they loved you and they felt a part of you, so much that's why they kept rushing the stage and trying to dance and be a part of it because they connected.
Ubuntu Soccer Academy is where Casey Prince started. Him and Sarah moved over there to start this.
They bring a lot of fatherless kids together. They teach them how to play soccer and they travel.
But it's really a leadership development program that they would be able to go out and become great leaders in their community. Go get the experience of college, maybe professional soccer, but then come back to their community and change it from the inside out. Most of them fatherless, if not all, from what I understand. And that was big for Sinai and I because we both come from fatherless backgrounds. Mike does too. Just about every single person in Renaissance does in some way. So they just had their first graduating class take their tour of the States and go around to different colleges. And some of the kids were offered scholarships on the spot. And it's like a dream come true for them because the goal was raise some kids up to get them here to the States so they could travel the world and do that type of stuff. So they're starting to realize all the sacrifice from years ago is changing these kids' lives. So we got to be a part of that and it meant a lot.
I really wish we got to know each other, Dad. Cause I try to get away, but I can't help from feeling sad. Cause the fact is, you ruined all the blessings that you had. Lost your son, and your wife, and your life. And I'm mad you never made it to a track meet or a basketball game. And when I had my birthday party, you the one that never came. Some days I'm over it, and other days it feels the same. I really wish I knew more than just your name. I really wish I got to know you.
The gospel impact, the last night at Hillsong, it was very well received. As we were going through the schools, they wanted us to kind of go more along the lines of motivational speaker. We kind of went that route through the 8 schools. You know, some were Christian, some were Muslim, and some were half and half. And so that last night at Hillsong, a lot of the kids that we spoke to at the schools ended up coming that night. And so they were able to get the gospel regardless.
What was important was the feedback later, because we've been in touch with them still, and they're saying that the attendance has still been up, and there's still this crazy energy, and the staff is still like really buzzing off of our trip, and like a couple of them says been like a little mini revival there since we had the privilege to go. So seeing that still happening, that it wasn't just one good night, which is all we experienced, but that it's been an ongoing impact of some sort that I can't really explain fully. When it gets tough for me here, remembering things like that makes me happy.
And then on top of that, to see at the end of the night how many kids came, gave their lives to Christ. As tired as we were, ready to go to sleep, missing our families, but at the end of the day, to see something like that happen, just made it all worth it.
The influence that the trip had on me is have more compassion, because I've seen firsthand the type of lifestyles that they live and the type of conditions that they live in.
Since coming back from our trip to South Africa, my perception of the ministry has changed a lot. Their genuine hearts for worship, to want to be closer to the Lord, regardless of what the environment may be. They do it with no complaints.
And I guess my perspective broadened about how essential it is to step outside of your culture and reevaluate your worldview that way. Is the gospel the same here? Does it have the same impact here? Is it the same necessity here? And I just, stamped over and over again, yes, 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 yes. It wasn't like it's just because how I was raised thing. The gospel is the gospel, period.
I believe that as God opens more doors, that we will go into those with the same mindset and the same heart. There's nothing special about me. It's just that God chose to use me and my brothers at this time and in that place. And however He desires to use us in the future, I'm 100% in. Because I trust Him that much. nothing to worry because my past has been buried. Fire can't burn me, I'm flame retarded since he rebirthed me. I'm saying bring it on every track I'm breathing on. Any track you see me on, believe I'm bringing Jesus on. They might say we're all full of crap and try to flush us down. Well, like Tourette's, we're locking us, you can't stop us from busting out. So will we keep our cool even when the heat is on? Across me got a vegetarian, now the beef is gone. I'm not just saying what I'm taught to believe, I've seen he's awesome. Turn narcoleptic to insomniac, stop sleeping on him. Showed his power in my timeline, all it took was a mention. So when I'm thrown in the furnace, I'm not gonna cook in it. I ain't worried about a thing, I ain't worried about a thing, I ain't worried about a thing, about a thing, about a thing. I ain't worried about a thing, I ain't worried about a thing, I ain't worried about a thing, I ain't worried about a thing.
Get free like gum. Don't run, no gun, no one can come and stop my fun. Long as my breath is left in my chest, compressing my lungs. And the trouble in the world, they can hinder me and make me turn on the sun. Then we can have a little fun. Every time I turn around and come up with a lie, won't fly. Too busy with my hands to the sky, no lie. Might suffer, but I'm not gonna die. Just ride to the love of my God supply. Wonder why I look so cool, so calm. Fold my arms, opposed to the most. Never know that he rose and he conquered the great, so definitely does my soul no harm. Never did I ever think a brother would be doing this and doing it, flowing it. I got let about it, ruin it, the truth, pursuing it, giving it, cheering the gospel. I don't want to sing of the deteriorating the foxes. I'm bringing it down, taking it down to the octave, and taking round, bringing it back to the topic. So look at me now, you might sound cocky, but that ain't the problem. I just know the God, yeah.
You wanna know why I look so cool? Wanna know why I look so calm? I ain't worried about a thing. No way, I ain't worried about a thing. Battlefield to the throne, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. We stand easy through the storm. Opposition.
Yeah, all day, we be in this space.